Lemont Unlocked, introducing a new, I don't know what I would call you, a character on the show, a co-host.
I like character, actually.
I've talked with you for about 10 minutes, and I think that's a good way to describe it. My name is Chris Lanuti, and this is Tess Abassi Wilder.
You got it.
Did I say it right?
You said it perfectly.
Good. I wanted to make sure. If I didn't say it right,
I would tell you.
Remember to correct me when we do
will.
this show, because you're going to be correcting me a lot. And Tess is nice enough to join Lemont Unlocked. We're in our second episode, and she'll be popping up from time to time to kind of give me a little bit of an idea of what's going on locally, what's happening in the streets of Lemont. Yep. I mean, where else do you learn about what's happening in your neighborhood than a coffee shop?
We have all of the hot gossip, and people tell us everything. So really, the coffee shop is where we're going to be at.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We're at Folklore Coffee. This is your coffee shop.
It's my coffee shop, my
How
baby. Long? So we just hit a year back in December. So it is a year and 2 months, which is crazy. It feels like 5 years and 1 day at the same time. It's hard to explain.
So I'm new to coffee.
Oh.
Which is funny because I was telling you I was a morning radio host.
Yeah.
I never drank coffee throughout my 10 years in morning radio.
How? How?
I was like a tea drinker at one point, but I never drank coffee. And then I got like introduced to the ones that are filled with like sugar.
Yeah.
Like I started with like a latte that would have like a drizzle on it and like whipped cream. And it was basically, I was just eating a dessert in the morning.
That's where we all start though. So there's like no reason to feel bad or weird about that. That's where we all start.
Yeah, and then I got fat. So I was like, I have to stop this. So then part of when I lost weight was I had to get rid of that. So first I went to just a latte, straight, no flavor, no nothing. And then I got myself to cappuccinos now.
There you go.
And I like that because there's a little less milk in those, and they're foamed.
I was going to say they're foamier, so it just feels so light and airy. It doesn't feel as milky as a latte. But to go from those sugary drinks to a latte is a really big step right there.
Yeah, and then down to cappuccino I thought was a bigger one.
That's a big
one. And recently I've just been doing coffee with like a little bit of milk. That's it.
Good for you.
Pretty soon I'll be all black.
You're going to be drinking black coffee with us behind the bar soon enough, and I can't wait.
So the funnier thing, and before we get into some of the stuff going on in Lemont, because I love talking coffee now, is that I will go in and order this cappuccino now, and it's funny, some people know how to make one, some people don't. You knew how to make it. I could tell from the moment I lifted it up because it wasn't full. Because when you pick up a cappuccino and you can tell the whole cup is full, they basically made me a latte.
Milk.
There's too much milk and it's not foamed up.
Totally.
How long did it take for you to figure that out?
So, okay, I'm going to give you one little secret right now, and I will answer the question. Maddie, our famed barista, made you this particular cappuccino, and she is known to be a cappuccino queen. So you got made a cappuccino by the best of the best in the industry. As far as like learning how to make one, it's so much practice and a lot of milk waste. So I'm very sorry to all the cows out there that I just threw away your milk trying to learn how to make a cappuccino. But lots and lots of years of practice. So I'm very lucky to have worked in and out of the coffee industry since I was 18. So
so you have been around coffee.
Oh yeah.
You didn't just sit in a coffee shop one day and say, you know what, I should open one of these. Like you've been around it.
Yes, but I was delusional enough to sit in a coffee shop and be like, I can do this. I can totally do this. A year and a half, or I should say a year and 2 months in, I'm a little tired. Can I do this? Sure. But it's so much harder than I thought it was going to be for sure. Yeah.
The episode today of Lemont Unlocked, we're going to be talking with couples here in the month of February, because, you know, February is all about Valentine's Day and all that stuff. And there's couples that own different businesses around town. So that's where we're going to be visiting. You have a lot of people mistaking this for a couple's business. This is your business, but your husband is a teacher, been in Lemont at the high school for over a decade, right? Yeah,
I think he's on year 19 this year. So he's been there since he was 22.
But he comes and he works the counter.
He does actually.
So everybody kind of thought, like, people are like, oh, they're a couple. It's a couple business.
Yes.
No, he's the teacher, but he comes in here. You put him to work when he's not grading papers. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, you know, it's kind of his fun job, we like to say. I mean, I call it his fun job. I don't know if he's going to agree with me on that. But it is a very common misconception. But he is still like a wonderful support system to me at the coffee shop. And on days where I need a little extra staff, he's always the first one behind the bar with us.
So what is your favorite thing like event-wise in Lemont? This is something I'm going to be asking people throughout this thing, because I come to Lemont, and every week, I mean, you can go to LemontDowntown.com. That's where the show is. You can subscribe on any podcast app. You can go to the YouTube channel, but it is on LemontDowntown.com. And also there is that calendar of events, and it is full.
It's full.
There's so much happening here that you don't see any other area in Chicagoland and the state of Illinois in a concentrated area that has something going on each and every day, sometimes 2-3 things happening on a Saturday, 2-3 things on a Sunday, festivals, things happening in the street, different events. What is your favorite? Do you have one?
That is such a great question. And I'm going to say Hometown Holidays, which happens, it's the first Saturday of every single December. The reason it's my favorite is that was a day that I actually had my soft opening for Folklore. And so for me, it's more sentimental. It makes me feel very, not only happy, but just excited. It's really a great kickoff to the holiday season too. All of the businesses stay open late, so everyone can just walk around with some hot chocolate or coffee, shop at the different businesses. It's just like a lovely Hallmark-esque day to be in Lemont. And you're right, like a lot of the people that end up coming in here, that's always the big thing that we hear for every single event is Lemont has so many events, and it's great because it makes us feel more like a community, which I absolutely love.
Yeah, I would think everybody knows everybody.
Oh, yeah. It's like Cheers on steroids in Lemont, yes.
I want to get to that status. I want to get to that status with this podcast. Before I let you go for this week, and we're going to have Tess on a lot. I'm looking forward to it. And I think we're right here. Character. That's better than co-host.
Yeah, I like character.
Character on the show. What is going on right now? If I needed a feel for what the big stuff is going on in Lemont, like the word on the street, the thing that's kind of happening right now in Lemont, what would you say it is?
So I would say that wellness is probably our biggest thing that's happening in Lemont right now. We just had a new Pilates studio open up in downtown Lemont at Marbella, which is the new apartment complex that everyone has known and seen, and it is absolutely gorgeous. It's like being in like a French villa. It's so beautiful over there. But that's owned by she's not a local yet. She's going to be moving to Lemont soon, but an almost local named Taylor. Super sweet, and her classes are difficult, but so much fun. And then we are getting a yoga studio down the block from Folklore as well, too. So that'll be Be Well Collective, owned by Danielle and Katie. And it's just really fun to see more wellness coming down over here. There's so many bars, restaurants, coffee shop now, florists, everything. So to get some more wellness studios in is really exciting to see.
Yeah, you need the wellness after all the partying.
Exactly.
That I was talking about
yeah, party on a Friday night, Saturday morning, you gotta get into that Pilates class.
Tess, it was great to sit down with you.
You too, Chris.
What's the address of Folklore?
Yeah, so we're located at 214 Main Street, right across the street from the metro station.
All right, get in here because the cappuccino is amazing. Thank you so much.
Cheers.
We're at Barrel and Vine. This is Lemont Unlocked. Love is in the air. Valentine's Day is coming up. And as we mentioned earlier, we're going to be talking with some Lemont couples that own businesses right here in Lemont. And one of my favorite places to go on date night is Barrel and Vine. I honestly, I was just telling you, my last date here was back in December, and I had just a wonderful experience here. It's always something that I impress somebody with by bringing them in here. And Larry and Dorothy are sitting here with me. How are you guys?
Phenomenal.
Yeah, doing well.
Yeah. So you two not only live in Lemont, you're married, you own a restaurant, which I would imagine is a little bit stressful. I mean, is it stressful to be a couple that owns a restaurant? I know you went through, the beginning of this decade was rough, and you open up this place, I want to say right around that time. We talked on one of my other podcasts about that. But, it's been a journey, I would imagine. What is it like doing something together like this?
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. I mean, we have two little princesses at home as well. So it's definitely been an amazing experience to watch this grow and blossom.
Do the kids come in? Is that a thing? Like, I know my family owned a restaurant for almost 100 years, and my grandfather would talk about coming in there, and then later my dad would talk about being a kid that would run around in the bar and stuff like that. Are the kids active?
Oh, yes. I mean, they'll go straight to the kitchen and ask for apples during the day. They're very active, but they also, they hang out in the back, when it's bring your kid to work day.
That's awesome. How did you guys meet, Larry? Because I know there's like 5 different versions of this story.
Yeah,
you guys are like, which version do we tell? What kind of show is Lemont Unlocked? I mean, I know that's something we're talking about, but like, how do we meet? What's the official story for this podcast?
We met in a restaurant. We both worked together, and then we kind of grew a relationship, and we decided it's probably not the best idea to work together. So we both kind of went our separate ways. I continued at that restaurant, and Dorothy went off to other fun adventures.
Hold on. Dorothy, you left your job so you could keep dating him? That's what I'm hearing.
Yeah, I mean...
that's love. That's like, you know what? I'd rather have the guy than the job.
It was definitely love at first sight for Larry. So
love at first sight, huh, Larry?
No, 1,000%. Yeah.
Do you build this restaurant as like a... Was that like your thought? We started in a restaurant business. I want to do something with her. We live here in Lemont. Was that what the motivation was? Is the bond that you two had, and the idea that the two of you knew the industry, and you're like, let's do something together?
No, I think we started dreaming 5-6 years ago. Longer than that at this point. About owning our own restaurant. Like we both kind of grew up in the industry, and both. Fell in love with it. You got to have a passion to open up a restaurant, and I think we both felt the same way. When we started looking at where to open our first restaurant, this was it. So her hometown, and then what better way 7 minutes away from our house. So as we're raising a family, and as we grow in the community, what cooler place than to come to Lemont and open our first restaurant?
Who does what? Because I know, Dorothy, you have a Polish background, and I remember the pierogies, and I remember that being a big thing the last time I was in here. And the last time I was in here, I found them right on the menu, and I was like, Dorothy, pick that. But if I'm not mistaken, Larry, you're the chef, right? I mean, like, how does this work? Break this down for me.
I think I'm more focused on the front of the house, and Larry's more in the back of the house. So we definitely stay in our lane.
Yeah, definitely not the chef. That's for sure. Our chef is amazing, and he does amazing things for us. Super creative. I'm more in the back, hanging out with the guys while they're doing all the food on a crazy busy night, and Dorothy's out and about, entertaining and saying hi to everyone. We definitely have a perfect balance, I think. I like to do some of the numbers and some fun stuff like that, and she's always looking for creative ways how to grow our business, social media wise. We got a perfect balance, I think, of what it takes to run a successful restaurant. And now that we're on number 2, it's almost more challenging for us to try to figure out how it works, but we're figuring it out, I guess.
Let's talk about that real quick. So you live here in Lemont. The two of you happily married here, start a restaurant, and you started during a difficult time for restaurants. So there has to be a lot of support from the community. There has to be a lot of support from the village. And then you have to have a lot of success to turn around and say, now I'm going to open up a second location. Am I wrong about any of that?
No, you're 100% correct. When we opened, obviously it was one of the scariest things we ever did. Taking everything we had and put it into this place. But the community, I think, just overwhelmingly embraced us and supported us so much. We couldn't have done it without our amazing staff, though. And the only reason we felt like we could grow and do a number 2 is because I think we have one of the best staffs around. And they do such an amazing job that we can kind of afford to go over there and make sure everything's going great. It's been a wild roller coaster, and thank God we decided to open this restaurant in our hometown of Lemont, because they took us on and really embraced us.
What kind of beer you got there? I'm curious. What do we got there?
I'm going to say it completely wrong. Yeah. It's the new Yuengling.
Oh, Yuengling's great. Yeah. I know Yuengling has made, they've made it to Illinois. Yeah. When I was in Tom's place on one of the previous Lemont Unlocks, I was drinking a Yuengling because they just got it on tap. Yeah. So it's all over Lemont now. Yep. When I started in radio, way back at the beginning of this millennium, and I was in Wheeling, West Virginia, they had Yingling, but you couldn't get it back here. So it's finally made it here decades later to Illinois. And Dorothy, you're having a white wine from what I can tell here, and I'm having the old fashioned, which I know is a big deal here. Yeah. You make a very good old fashioned. I remembered it from the last time I was in here. Tell me a little bit about this drink.
Yeah, I am a bourbon fan. Dorothy's more on the wine side, but I needed to make sure that we had an amazing old-fashioned on the menu. And we got some creative spirits in the mixologist world, and they put together this, and we tried it, and we said, yeah, this is our old-fashioned. It's our number one seller. It's every little detail that we thought of is put into that with the cherries, with the clear ice cube.
Classic.
Yeah, and Buffalo Trace bourbon, which is always outstanding.
Oh, yeah. Always good stuff. Hard to find somehow.
It is,
It's
yes.
really hard to find, but when you find it, you got to add it to your home bar.
1,000%.
All right. So I've been asking everybody this question, and I want to hear a couple's perspective on it, because I'm sure you two have partaken in some of the events around Lemont. LemontDowntown.com, the spot where you can find this podcast, even though you can find it on any podcast app, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, you name it, YouTube. We got a channel there for you to be able to watch this, so make sure you subscribe. But at LemontDowntown.com, we're also there, and also is this giant calendar of events. And I say that Lemont has more going on in it than any other town that I've been in. It's incredible, everything that they have going on. Is there a favorite for the two of you? Dorothy, I'll let you start.
Oh gosh, I love the car show, hands down. It's amazing to see the community come out and families come out. Hands down for me is the car show, along with the Irish Parade. It's so much fun that we have coming up here soon. But yes, I could keep going. The list goes on.
Larry, you got a favorite?
I like the soirees myself. It's just neat watching everyone come together and have a great time. You don't see it that much in these other towns. It's a very small hometown feel to it, but it attracts so many people around. It's just amazing. It's really cool. And our daughters love the car show as well. Every now and then we'll throw out a DJ and they'll dance the night away, and it's super awesome, all the events that they have down here.
That's really cool. If somebody comes to Barrel and Vine, what would you recommend that they try inside of this restaurant?
Oh gosh, the stuffed pork chop is my favorite with the Gouda cheese, hands down. Yeah.
It's a solid one. Larry?
So our number one seller is our braised short rib.
Which is exactly what I got the last time I was
yes,
here. I remember that, and I walked right in. I said, that's what I'm getting.
So that is our number one seller, and it's amazing. We just added a Black Sea Alfredo pasta that is my new favorite. It switches up all the time since we eat so much at Barrel and Vine, but that's my new recommendation right now is the Black Sea Alfredo. It's selling like crazy.
That's exactly what you want to hear. You want to hear that the guy who owns the place eats here a lot. Like that's the number one thing that I want to hear from a restaurant owner. Do you have plans for Valentine's Day? I'll finish with that. Like, are you two of you going to be here? Is there something going on here, or do you two go out and do something special on that day?
Oh no, we're definitely going to be here. It's such a fun event for us to have the couples come out and we can wine and dine you. The chef puts together an awesome feature menu with some amazing fillets. I think there's
Surf and turf.
Surf and turfs.
Lobster ravioli. I think he's got.
I'm a big fan of that.
Yeah, he put an amazing feature menu together. But yeah, I would say most holidays we're in the restaurant doing our thing because we have a passion for it. Of course, we're going to be here, and we usually tend to celebrate a day after on most occasions. That includes Mother's Day, Father's Day, Valentine's Day. So we'll celebrate the day after, which is kind of more chill and relaxing. But
if I may add this, since Larry and I started dating, the day after Valentine's Day, you go to Walgreens and get me candy, a box of chocolate.
The day after.
50% off.
I love that. That's a businessman right there. That's a businessman. I absolutely love that. It's day one. She gets her chocolates 50% off the next day. That's absolutely brilliant. Larry's like, I can't believe she told everybody in Lemont that I buy the candy the next day 50% off.
Yeah, they'll be looking for me at Walgreens the day after now.
All right, real quick, the address. I know that on the weekends it's best to get reservations as well, correct?
Yeah, 100%. We do fill up. We do accept walk-ins, but it's a challenge challenge. Address 206 Main Street, right underneath the overpass is where you can find us. But yeah, highly recommend reservations.
Awesome. Larry, Dorothy, happy Valentine's Day. I love this place. Thank you very much for this amazing old fashioned. I remembered it was good from the last time I was here, and it is still spectacular. Cheers, my friends.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Lemont Unlocked at Digs On Canal, another business that is owned by a couple that lives here in Lemont. I have Ed and Peggy with me. Hi, guys. How are you?
Good. How are you? We're wonderful.
Thank you for having me. It's busy here. It's always busy here. Every time I go by here, it's busy. And this is not your first location in Lemont. And I think it's kind of funny. There's a connection with our other guest that we have on this show today over at Barrel and Vine. That was your location originally. Tell me about that, Ed.
Yeah, when we first moved to Lemont, well, it wasn't when we first moved to Lemont, but I was in food service for a long food service sales, and one of my customers and classmate at Mendel was Tommy Gelsasimo. So we were selling his other restaurants. So he said, Eddie, why don't you just put our pie in your place? So we were going to start off with a little joint, just carry out and delivery.
That's where the name comes from. That's interesting. Not everybody probably knows that. Okay.
Mendel class of 69. Anyway, so Tommy went out with me, and we were looking for a small place. We couldn't find one, and then the building on 206 Main was available. So we went from doing a carry-out restaurant to like a 180-seat sit-down restaurant.
For the first time. For the first time. Yeah, little carry-out.
How did you feel when he came to you with that idea?
Well, I was a little anxious. I mean, I loved the building because it was a great building. But yeah, it was our first venture, so it was kind of intimidating, but it was fun to make it our own.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what happens is COVID hits, right? The dark times, as I call them. You end up over here. Barrel and Vine ends up in that spot there. You bring the pizza over here, but this is more than just a pizza place now. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about what Digs On Canal is.
So our daughter, who just recently moved on to bigger and better things, she was with us for 9 years as our general manager. This building here used to be, goes way back, it used to be a dime store. I hear from the old Lamontsters tell me. And then there was a nice delicatessen in here called Sweetwater Deli. They wanted to move on, so we still had Gelsasimo's at the time. We came in here and we kept it up with the name Sweetwater. My daughter investigated, wanted to change some names up, so she came up with the name Digs, which connotated the digging of the canal. And you see all the pictures in here, some of the old from the historical district that they brought to us. So we had Digs running and Gelsasimo's. COVID hits. It wasn't so good over at Gels, and the reason being is there was no outdoor dining. The village was great. They allowed you to do outdoor dining, but on Main Street, we went underneath the viaduct, right? We had the umbrellas up because of the pigeons flying over, right? So that didn't work well. A Polish restaurant in town, Old Town, she was running into the same problem, so we thought we could operate there with carry-out and delivery. And being so close to here, the problem was that it was hard to staff two restaurants this close. So a friend of mine and one of our chefs over at the old place wanted to put in a Mexican restaurant, so him and his brother went over there and opened up Moreno's. We came here, put in a pizza oven, put in the dough roller and the mixer, and we started doing pizzas out of here. What was great about the village, we had the park next door. We were doing outdoor dining out there.
Oh yeah, and now you have the iconic domes. I mean, that's the thing. Like, I know where you're at as I drive into town, because the first thing I see, not only the mural on the side of the building, but I see the domes in the wintertime or the outdoor dining during the summer, which is, it really is how I identify Digs On Canal.
That's true. Yeah, and that was our daughter Jennifer's idea. She's like, we had already lost, Gelsasimo's, because most of our revenue was generated there by parties because it was so big, and we couldn't have anybody in the restaurant. So Jennifer said, we're going to end up losing Digs too if we don't do something creative. And so she investigated, and she came to us with the proposal, and we were like, oh my, so I called the mayor and I said, so Mayor, what do you think about igloos? And he goes, igloos, why not? he could not have been more gracious.
That's the thing, though. I mean, I've already noticed it in my short time doing Lemont Unlocked, which, again, you can get on all the podcast apps you can think of. You can get it on our YouTube channel. You can go to LemontDowntown.com/unlocked. There's a million different ways to subscribe to the show. We're going to keep doing this all over town. But I'm already learning very quickly how supportive the village is to the businesses, and it must be just such a relief to you, especially when here you are, you're a married couple, you live here in Lemont. It's not like one of you is doing something else. Like, the entire family's invested in this, and the survival of the family comes from whether or not you can have a business here that's in the community that's working. And for them to support you, you get these great places that, as we're sitting here, I mean, this place has been packed all day long, even before we sat down.
Yeah, I mean, we couldn't have done it. We wouldn't be here today if it really wasn't for the mayor letting us use that space. I mean, that's the honest to God truth. He just is just so generous with his support for businesses. Well, not just businesses, the town.
Yeah,
we love it here.
Everybody in the village. Jason Berry with the business development piece, and the mayor and a lot of the trustees. It's just a great village. We've been here now 22 years. Even when we first opened up the original Chelsassimos, I was just impressed, and talking to some of the other Chelsasimo owners, they said, well, you're going to have a problem with the village, you want to do this, you're going to have a problem with it. Never had a problem with it. All they said is just let us know what you want to do, let us investigate, and we'll get back to you. And it's usually been, if it's promoting the downtown area, they're very, very supportive.
That's awesome. So now we have Valentine's Day coming up. That's one of the reasons why we're doing all the couples in Lemont that have businesses. We didn't get to all of them, but we got a few of them that we've had on this episode. What are your plans? I mean, do you celebrate in your restaurant? Do you have another place in town when you want to get away? I mean, I'm sure. I mean, I would imagine you love your food, but is there something that you go and do? How do you guys celebrate this out?
We'll be here because we're going to do a special Valentine's menu and stuff here at the restaurant.
Right.
And we're using my mom's china, grandma's china.
You're using it here in the restaurant.
We're using it here in the restaurant.
Yeah, it's her mom's and my mom's.
Yeah. So
that is some trust right there. I mean, that is like family heirlooms, and you're just letting the public use it on Valentine's Day.
We want it to be really special, right? So the chefs have put together a really good menu, and so we'll be here, because we love our community, and I want to see how much they enjoy it. So we're using all the glassware and all the china, and it's going to be so fun.
Peggy works the front of the house, so
I can tell she has a bubbly personality. She's perfect for it.
Yeah, right. She's the nurse,
we don't really let him in the front of the house too much.
I can swear at the guys in the kitchen.
So he'll tell me sometimes, when I come, especially on Friday nights, I'm always doing rounds on the tables, and Ed'll be at home, and we have cameras, right? So I get home from work sometimes, and he'll say, Peggy, our guests came to talk to each other, not you, but because I sit at the table and talk to them, because I love them, and I appreciate, their support of us.
I have fun with her during the summertime. She's out there visiting tables, and she'll be sitting down, and I'll go up and I'll say, ma'am, the bus is here to take you back to the home. And I'm sorry, folks, this lady's been bothering you.
So don't laugh, Chris, because you're encouraging that.
It sounds like they have a good time here. What do you like the most on your menu? I've been kind of asked. I'm going to ask this every time I'm at a restaurant. I understand everything is good. I understand that you might have individual favorites, the two of you, but there's got to be something where you sit there and go, yeah, this is what I like, or this is what somebody should try when they come here.
Oh yeah. Well, Juan in our kitchen makes these amazing buffalo chicken egg rolls. They're very intricate to make, really time intensive, but he puts all his heart and soul into them, and he's taught the staff how to make them. Anyway, they're very special. So I love our buffalo chicken egg rolls. I love our pizza. You can't really go wrong with the pizza. It's pretty phenomenal. But I'll be honest, when people ask me, what do you like best? Well, on our menu, we did star the things that are bought most often by our customers, because otherwise I'd be telling them to have everything. I mean, I'm really proud of our food. It's all fresh food. So sometimes they wait a little bit longer, but it's all fresh food, so it's worth the wait. And I'm really proud of our staff. I mean, they do an amazing job in the kitchen and out in the front of the house. They're kind, and they're happy to have our guests here. And
This is why she's at the front of the
I was just thinking to myself, like, I want her to sit at my table. I mean, like, she's...
Yeah, I love being here.
So on Valentine's Day, what we'll do is I got to throw this out right now. So on Monday, we'll be going out. We might be going to Barrel and Vine, our old place. It's going to be our 52nd wedding anniversary.
52 years old.
Congratulations.
We were just babies when we were married. Yeah, we really were. Yeah, that's a long time to be
Dorothy
married.
and John will probably be seeing you on Monday.
That's amazing. That's great. Look at that. Look at it. We got them both on the show, and they both have this connection, which I think is really cool that I just discovered today. And, I'm also asking people where they like to go. Like, what event do you like the most here? Because you go to LemontDowntown.com and you look at all the stuff that's going on in Lemont. Yeah. There's a festival, there's an event, there's a thing. You guys are on that calendar all the time, what's going on over at Digs. Is there anything that you look forward to every year in the village?
Well, Maples,
Maples Market.
Yeah, Maples Market. She does a couple of times a year. She does this amazing, opportunity for the community. We close down the streets, and she engages all the, owners.
And then we're up at the 4th of July.
The 4th of July at the park.
We have a booth up there, and the park district's great. We work with them all the time.
So good.
So I would say the 4th of July is always fun.
Yeah.
And we just keep shuttling pizzas up there. And
but we're usually here because whenever there are events, it brings more people downtown, right? So we're usually manning the post, so that we're so grateful because all those events bring more people to us, and we always say, because sometimes like when a new restaurant opens, people say, oh, are you nervous, about a new restaurant, the competition? And we always say, no, it's so healthy. Tonight you might want our pizza, or our buffalo egg rolls or whatever. Tomorrow you might want Matt's barbecue as he makes an amazing, brisket. Or you might want Moreno's, homemade, authentic Mexican food.
It's a little restaurant row down here. Then we got 80-unit apartment going down right down the block. So we've had a lot of the people that are moving in there have been coming in here. So
trust me, Lemont's become a go-to place on a date night when I don't know where to take the girl. Like I'm like, there's like 12 restaurants here that do 12 different things. Sure. Like I'm just gonna drive into Lemont and see which thing she looks at. Like it's easy for me as a guy who can't make decisions sometimes. All right, well listen, Ed, Peggy, first of all, thank you for letting us come in here and hear about your story and the fact that it seems very obvious that you're very well connected to the community and you both love working with each other here as a couple as Valentine's Day approaches. And secondly, I'm going to have to get myself some buffalo egg rolls because I think she brought them up like 6 times. So I think I'm going to eat.
Our wings are very good.
The wings are good too. Yeah. All right, I'm going to get stuffed here at the bar. What's the address for anybody who may have never seen Digs?
316 Canal Street.
316 Canal Street, live music all the time. We actually, there was a crowd behind us for the live music, I believe, and we were waiting for it to end before he could sit here at the bar, and he was really good. And you guys always have live music here. I love live music.
4 times a weekend. So not every day.
And the summertime when we open up, they'll be out there. It's called Music and Mimosas. Yeah. So on Saturday and Sunday morning we have music there, and
listen, as you drive into Lemont, if you're not from here, you see this place, and if you're from Lemont, you already know about it. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chris.